it was so I mean, it's like Sonos. This is very impromptu. I did not think I was going to be making a video about this. Unfortunately, I have to work this weekend. Something came up where I need to now finish a very big project by Monday. This project involves working on integrating Sonos products into Crestron. I needed a Sonos product for testing. And because it's the weekend, my office is closed, no one's there, I couldn't just go and pick up one of these things. I needed one ASAP before Monday. So I just went out to Best Buy, bought this one here, and I figured I'm going to return it when I'm done using it. Shh, don't tell them. So that's what we're looking at right here. This is a Sonos Beam second generation soundbar. This company has pretty much dominated the AV industry. 90% of my clientele has at least one Sonos product in their household. There's two main reasons why Sonos became as popular as it is today. Reason number one being that they made an easy, straightforward, multi-room, network-based audio system. And this was a very big feat to accomplish back when this came out in 2004 because, you know, internet streaming was still becoming a thing. It was not popular back then. And reason number two, it was, and it still is to this day, a very appealing option for a home theater setup. There's only 2 or 3 components that you have to buy from Sonos to achieve a 5.1 channel home theater system. That's like a night and day difference compared to a big clunky receiver. But going back to multi-room audio, that's been a thing for as long as AV systems have been around. In the early 2000s, before Sonos products were that common, in a high-end home, you would find some type of an audio switcher, like maybe inside of a closet or a rack room. It's commonly referred to as an audio matrix or a switching amplifier. There's different kinds. Now, there would be distributed speakers all throughout the house. All of the wires for all of those speakers into those rooms lead back into this audio switching matrix. It would all be centralized in this rack room. And in this audio matrix, there would be all different kinds of audio sources attached to it. Sometimes they would be video sources like, VCRs, DVD players. Primarily, they would be audio only sources like CDs, vinyls, an AM/FM tuner, or if you were making the big bucks back then you had a satellite radio receiver in your house. These systems were great. They are hardwired and reliable, but where they lose a lot of satisfaction is how they are controlled. It requires some type of a professional AV controller, which could only be programmed by a professional, and it also needed additional hardware so that it could connect all of the different interfaces for controlling the audio video system. This included like wall keypads, touch panels, before iPads were a thing. Too many components, too many things needed to accomplish switching audio. All of my clients are navigating away from this type of setup. Before they kind of retrofitted it, they basically bought what's called a Sonos port, stick it in the rack, attach it to the audio matrix. That's how they were doing AirPlay. The problem with that is they would have to start the AirPlay on their phone, then they would have to either go into a separate app, like a Crestron app, or they would have to go to a wall panel or a keypad. Point being, they had to do multiple steps just to turn on audio. It was not ideal for them. But now, we're in an era where we can pretty much do everything from our phones. So why should it be complicated just to turn on music? And well, the simple solution to that is Sonos. This allows you to start music just by simply starting music, and no other steps required. We went through all of our clients' homes. We removed all of those audio matrices and switchers, amplifiers, all of those components that required this special control system just to use it. And we replaced all of it with Sonos products. We either used Sonos amps or Sonos ports for those devices that already had an amplifier. This drastically improved the satisfaction of our clients because now they can just do everything from the Sonos app. No more having to flip between different apps just to turn on music. They don't even need to use the Sonos app. If they have an iPhone or an iOS device, they can just start AirPlaying whatever they're listening to, and it'll automatically turn everything on. It is a night and day difference for them. Now, if you couldn't tell at the beginning of the video by my expressions regarding this company, I have a little bit of discontent with them. There's a very good reason for that, and that is because these things can take down an entire network. And it amazes me that even after more than a decade, Sonos still can't seem to figure this problem out. And that problem is spanning tree. If you have a small network environment, like for example, you just have like a basic router modem combo and you don't have any other networking devices, mostly everything is on Wi-Fi. If you're gonna buy like 5 or 6 Sonos products, you'll be fine. You will not have to worry about your network going down or anything like that, especially if all of them are connected via Wi-Fi. you'll be just fine. But if you have a larger network, like you have to have multiple different wireless access points in your home because of how big it is, you have switches in different locations of the house, and you have Sonos products connected to all of those, then you have to worry. Now, every Sonos product is capable of creating a wireless bridge with each other. So let's say if this was hardwired to Ethernet and I had another wireless Sonos product here, this wireless Sonos product would be talking directly to this. It would not be going through Wi-Fi or anything like that. Now, this is great, especially if that wireless Sonos product is in a spot where it's just not able to reach Wi-Fi. But what can happen is, let's say if you have a hardwired Sonos device and you have another hardwired Sonos device, and they're not too far apart from each other. If there's an internet outage or some other issue on the network, the Sonos devices will think that there's no active internet connection, and then it will change its priority. It then tries to find alternative methods for receiving an active internet connection, which includes wirelessly communicating with other Sonos products nearby. So this could potentially create a wireless bridge to another hardwired Sonos device, which will then create a network loop. It's the equivalent of plugging an Ethernet cable into one port of a switch and then plugging it into a different port on that same switch. You've just created a circle. And this won't cause a problem right away, but just give it some time and then you'll notice a broadcast storm. Now, a broadcast storm is when multicast traffic, that's basically audio video related data that is just shooting out the data to any device that will accept it. It's flooding every single device on the network with a bunch of packets. This results in high latency on the local network, which causes the majority of those devices to completely fall offline. You can even see by looking at your router or switch, you'll notice the link activity lights will be flashing like crazy. So if your internet is down and you see those lights flashing like crazy, you're definitely experiencing a broadcast storm. Now, there are ways to avoid this from happening. You have to go onto the settings of the Sonos app and make sure to disable the Wi-Fi function on the specified Sonos product if you intend on keeping it hardwired. But even with that, sometimes that doesn't work. You have to change the setting on the app and then you have to quickly disconnect it from power just so it can save the change. As for some reason, there's a quirk where it likes to revert back to its original value. But there's also another caveat for disabling the built-in Wi-Fi. If there happens to be a wireless subwoofer paired to this soundbar or the Sonos product, that wireless subwoofer is going to stop working because that's how the subwoofer communicates to the Sonos device via Wi-Fi. But it does a direct Wi-Fi connection from the subwoofer to the Sonos device. And now you're forced to do one of two things just so you can get it working again. You have to either A, do a hardwired connection to the subwoofer, making both devices hardwired, or B, make sure that both devices are wireless only. And I think it's funny too. If you were to ask Sonos, talk directly to their support, and this is like tier 2 support, higher level. If you were to ask them what they recommend for setting up multiple Sonos products, they will tell you to hardwire at least one product for every 6 products. Which basically means their idea is to have one Sonos product act as like a wireless access point for the other 6 devices that are going to connect to it. And if you're going to have more than 6 devices connecting to it, they suggest hardwiring yet another device. So yeah, one hardwired Sonos device for every 6 devices that you add. And that is crazy to me because everyone with a brain knows that Ethernet is the way to go with everything. It's always going to have the faster response time. It's always going to have the full duplex speeds compared to Wi-Fi. Things like that actually matter when doing multi-room audio or even setting up a home theater configuration using the Sonos products because there will be delays that you have to worry about. And sometimes in order to eliminate a delay, it has to diminish the sound quality. But yeah, Sonos is definitely aware that they have some things that they could work on. It's just frustrating because it seems like every time they release an update, they take away important features that we actually utilize for our clients, which ultimately ends up breaking any integrations that we have with the third-party systems like Crestron and Control 4. And their solutions always tend to be quick fixes, kind of like how I explained with the Wi-Fi issue and disabling it, how they literally told me to unplug it in order for it to save the setting. And every single time they always tell me they're going to pass the information along to their team. Actions speak louder than words, and it's been very quiet in the action department. But anyways, going back to why I have one of these godforsaken products currently in front of me. Like I said, I needed one for testing integration with the Crestron system. I have a test bench here at my house. I've integrated plenty of these before in the past. However, I am testing a completely different function that I have never done before. This is something that I want to experiment with on my test bench just to make sure it actually works before I go and program it for the client and deploy it on their property. And well, you can see here from the Crestron app on my iPad that I was able to get it working. good song, by the way. That dude, Otis McDonald, go check him out. He is on YouTube. He is a legend. And shout out to him for making music that is not copyright, because, you know, it sounds great. And the fact that I can use it without having to worry about a video getting taken down, that's even better. You are a legend, my guy. Keep it up. So yeah, it works. And now I can deploy this project on Monday. And now I can return this because now I have no reason to keep it. You guys, I freaking love this thing. I've fallen in love with this, using this on my test bench. Like, what the heck? Oh, it makes a night and day difference here in my bedroom. Like, this was the only place that I had room to actually set this up. So I decided to put it here in my room, connect it to my TV, and oh my gosh, like this was the only room in my house where I did not have a proper speaker. And I did not realize how much I was missing out when watching TV. The simulated Atmos on here sounds amazing. It almost sounds like stuff is coming from behind me when I'm laying in my bed, which is, for this little thing, this is their mid-range speaker. This isn't even the expensive one, which is like close to $1,000. And even this one sounds amazing. Just to put this into perspective, this is very, very close to my 5.1 channel home theater setup in my living room. When I say very close, if you were to take my home theater system downstairs, remove the left and right surrounds, this sounds exactly like it. Like, totally comparable. And now that makes me realize why so many people are willing to just ditch their home theater systems, like with their AV receiver and everything, and just swap it out with one of these, or even a few extra components. So yeah, more on that. It's so easy to make a home theater setup with these. The soundbar, whether you get this, the Sonos Beam, or if you get the Sonos Arc, that's going to have your left, center, and right. And the Arc even has directional up-pointing speakers to help simulate those surrounds. But if you don't want simulated surround, get a soundbar, get 2 additional speakers. They can be wireless. Get a subwoofer, bam, you're done. You don't have to connect anything else. It's all wireless. And let's say you already have rear surround speakers that you want to keep using, you can still use them. Just get a Sonos amp instead of 2 additional wireless Sonos speakers. And if you also have an existing subwoofer, you can connect your subwoofer to that as well. So being able to eliminate that big clunky receiver, all of the wires coming out with just 2 or 3 products, like that is insane. And that makes all the sense as to why this company just dominated the market. Because like that setup in itself is just significantly less wiring, less equipment, less setup overall. It almost justifies the expensive price tag for some people. So yeah, I am keeping this in my bedroom. Now I am actually going to still return this specific unit. I'm gonna get my money back. Come Monday, I'm gonna pick up one of these from my office, plain and simple. It's a lot less expensive when you buy it directly from Sonos, but of course I only have that perk because I'm a professional integrator. My company just happens to be a reseller, so yeah, it works out great. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this impromptu video.